Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of The Drop. Greg Wyshynski, Arda, Ocal. Thanks for watching us on ESPN, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you are seeing us right now. We are leading into our ESPN doubleheader, beginning with the Blues and Stars at 8, followed by the Golden Knights and Kraken.
The Dallas Stars making the push for the Central Division title. I like the way they're finishing, Arda. And I think that they are a stealthy cup contender, as we'll talk about later.
We certainly will. We will also have an interview with a national champion from Quinnipiac, Zach Metsa, the captain. That was a really fun one.
Yeah.
First things first, though, big news dropped today out of Chicago. Jonathan Toews and the Chicago Blackhawks will be parting ways at the end of the season. We don't know if Jonathan Toews will officially be retiring.
Yeah.
All we know is that he will no longer be a part, no longer be captain, the storied captain of the Chicago Blackhawks. Tonight will be his last home game as a member of the Hawks. Your initial reaction?
15 seasons all with the Blackhawks, 3 Stanley Cup championships, Conn Smythe winner. He's been dealing with symptoms of long COVID and has a chronic immune response syndrome. So you're wondering whether or not this is the end for Jonathan Toews overall or just with the Blackhawks. Kyle Davidson, the GM of the Blackhawks, says he expects Toews will play next season. So he believes that this isn't the end of Jonathan Toews, but it kind of maybe feels like it might be the end of Jonathan Toews.
Certainly is the end of Jonathan Toews and the relationship with the Chicago Blackhawks. But the one thing I would like to say is I like the classiness of the move to announce it now so that the fans can have a proper goodbye. We don't often see this kind of situation. We see the one-day contracts, retiring with the team that you were most famous with, etc. But this really feels like an opportunity to say goodbye while he's still playing, which I think is really cool.
Let's talk about the Blackhawks writ large for a second, okay? Duncan Keith, obviously gone, retired now. Patrick Kane, traded. Jonathan Toews is playing his last game, will not be re-signed. You know who I was thinking about?
Who?
The Pittsburgh Penguins. If you put the Wonder Woman lasso of truth around GM Ron Hextall and forced him to be honest, do you think that he would like to be the Blackhawks and have the opportunity to trade Malkin, to trade Letang, to have that conversation with Crosby, to hit the reset button for the franchise and remake it in the mold of a guy who likes to draft and look towards the future? Do you think that Ron Hextall casts a jealous eye at the Chicago Blackhawks for their ability to cut this thing clean and start over again?
It's entirely possible.
Yeah,
now that you
that
put
was
it
my
that
thought.
way. You put it that way. I think a lot of Pittsburgh Penguins fans are like, "Oh, we like you talking about Ron Hextall and a different team." Anyway, I'm not going to open that can of worms. We're going to leave it alone. This is about Jonathan Toews, and so happy trails to Jonathan Toews, wherever that might be, whether it's retirement, whether it's playing for another NHL team. Speaking of other NHL teams, the New York Islanders have clinched the final playoff spot. It took them all season, the entire season, but they are in the playoffs, which means, Greg Wyshynski, here's a little fun fact for you.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the New York City area teams, let me rhyme them off for you that have made the playoffs. The Islanders, Rangers, Devils.
Yes.
The Knicks and Nets.
Yes.
If you spread it out to the last several months, the last 8 months, you can add the Yankees, Mets, the Liberty, NYCFC, Red Bulls, and Giants.
You're missing one.
Am I? Am I missing a team? Am I missing a team?
My beloved New York Football Jets, who I believe have the same level of playoff drought as do the Buffalo Sabres currently.
That's correct.
If memory serves.
That is
so,
correct.
Yeah.
Do you see the lower third, by the way?
Look, brighter days are ahead. It's only a matter of moments until the Aaron Rodgers trade happens. We think everything will be fine. That Islanders thing, by the way, Arda, that was incredible. Like, think about that 48
Shout out to Kenny, by the way.
Think about that 48 hours. Think about that 48 hours, right? They go to Washington, and they just collapse. I mean, Anders Lee told me last night at the Islanders game, like, every emotion you can think of, they felt in that game, okay? And then they hand destiny back to the Penguins. The Penguins play the Blackhawks. They fumble the ball.
We can show the East standings as Wish has mentioned.
And then the Islanders get destiny back, and they close the deal against the Canadiens last night. To go from absolutely screwing yourself, basically, to then clinching a playoff spot 48 hours later is absolutely incredible. What a roller coaster for the Islanders.
So you see clearly that the only matchup that's really set in stone right now, and it has been for a while, is Leafs and Lightning.
Right.
That's a callback from, they're running it back from last season. I really want the Battle of the Hudson. It may not happen if things shake down a certain way today.
Right. Important to note that if the Panthers win, obviously they play the Metro winner. If they lose in any fashion, including shootout or overtime, the Islanders will own the tiebreaker against the Panthers, and the Panthers will remain Bruins fodder. Although, Arda, the Panthers are one of the only teams in this league to get a couple of wins against the Bruins this year. So.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Oh, my. Here's the Western Conference, some seeding still to be determined. You mentioned the Central. It was pretty tight. Like, all three teams were tied not that long ago.
Yeah.
So there's still some playoff matchups to be determined. And the Oilers actually own the tiebreaker over the Golden Knights. So
right.
they could still win the Pacific, which means we could get Jonathan Quick against the Kings in round one. We could.
We certainly could. We certainly could. Again, that Stars Avalanche race in the Central, fascinating one. The Wild are going to be a very tough out versus the teams in the wild card, so there is a lot at stake for either Dallas or Colorado to lead the Central. And again, I really like the way that Dallas is closing their season.
All right, time to determine if these playoff teams are contenders or pretenders. Segment is called Bet or Cap. These are words that Wish uses in his everyday language all the time.
Every single day.
If they are a contender, they will go here. If they are a pretender, they will go there. I literally just learned these words, what they meant, on Urban Dictionary 5 minutes ago. All right, let's go through the list. The Boston Bruins.
That's Bet.
Yeah,
I mean, despite the President's Trophy curse, look, wild card era in the National Hockey League, no President's Trophy team has even played for the Stanley Cup, let alone won it, but obviously bet on the Bruins.
So no 2019 Lightning curse here?
No.
All right.
No.
Hurricanes.
I will say Cap for the Hurricanes. My big concern about them before the playoffs was who's going to score goals. It's still my concern. Not only do they not have Svechnikov, Pacioretty, but Natchez hasn't scored all that many goals in the last 2 weeks either. So I will cap them, Arda.
I'm just going to do this to disappoint you.
Listen, I'll say this about the Devils. 2 one-goal losses against the Boston Bruins this year. I think their speed gives Boston trouble, but if you got to do that, you got to do that, Arda. I'm not going to complain.
Leafs?
Bet.
Okay.
Look, man, if they get
I wouldn't have done that.
If they get past the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round, there will be a gale force wind in their sails, dude. It's going to be like the Capitals getting past the Penguins and then getting over the hump and riding the momentum down to the Stanley Cup, down to the promised land. I'm all in on the Leafs if they beat the Lightning.
Yeah, that 6-game series loss against Boston will be great. Golden Knights?
I'm going to say Cap on the Golden Knights. Listen, they're very good. They're going to get Mark Stone back most likely. I still don't trust their goaltending. I still feel like the attrition of depth over the years for these salary cap reasons is going to catch up with them. I'm not in on them as being a cup contender.
So are you saying the same thing for the Oilers then? Because I'm saying bet Oilers, but what are you saying?
I say bet Oilers.
Okay,
they were my bet before the season, man.
Oh, that's
I picked
right.
them to
You
win
did
the
do
Stanley
that.
Cup. At some point, 2 generational talents on the same team will drag their franchise to a Stanley Cup victory, and I believe it will be this year for Connor McJesus and Leon Draisaitl.
It's like Homer Simpson dragging the stone of optimism or whatever it is up the hill. The Rangers.
The Rangers, I'm going to say bet on this one.
Whoa!
On paper, they're the only team in the East that I think has the depth to match the Bruins. They obviously also have Igor Shesterkin in goal, which is a big benefit as well. I don't think they match up perfectly with the Bruins or the Hurricanes because of the way they play versus what those teams can take away from them defensively. But overall, again, you can't argue with the talent, and they also made the conference final last year.
I'm going to be controversial here. I'm putting Cap out.
Why are you? Explain yourself.
Because I don't think that they're as good a team as they were last season. I think their goaltending dropped off. I think their center depth especially is going to be a big problem in the playoffs.
I agree with you. They haven't found a sufficient replacement for Kadri, but they've been an absolute steamroller down the stretch. Missing guys, I still think they're a bet team.
Okay, we'll put them over here. I don't think I can do that. Just assume that the Avalanche are a bet now.
No
Stars.
givebacks. No givebacks on
I can't,
Cap.
literally
no
can't.
Givebacks on Cap.
Stars.
The Stars are bet all day.
Okay.
I've had multiple people tell me that they're a team to watch out for in the playoffs. They can score. Jake Ottinger, we've seen what he can do in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
And again, the Pete DeBoer thing, man. Pete DeBoer goes to a team, they make the Stanley Cup final in year 1. By year 3, they all hate him, he gets fired. But in year 1, he does really well.
Year 1, baby.
Year 1,
That's
baby.
a shirt. Kings.
Oh, the LA Kings are absolutely a bet for me, too. You know, they're a dangerous team. I think they got better at the trade deadline. They're already a very deep roster. They found the sweet spot between veterans that play really, really well and the young kids coming up to benefit the lineup. I like them a lot. I kind of hope my Oilers avoid them in the first round.
And honestly, we don't talk about them enough. They're an underrepresented elite conversation team. Wild.
The Wild for me are Cap. I got to be honest with you. Like I still think, like you said, some issues at center might come back to haunt them. They can play very well. I think they're going to be a tough out, but ultimately the overall mix I'm not as big on as I am on some other teams in the West.
And they'll be great if they get peak Fleury.
Yeah, or Pete Gustafson. They got 2 good goalies.
Pete Gustafson, exactly. Kraken.
That's a Cap for me. I mean, not yet. Not yet. Not yet.
They're glow up, though?
They're glowing up. And a little bit of goaltending goes a long way to make them a playoff team. But this is a learning experience for what I think the Kraken could end up being maybe next season. I'm not in on them quite yet.
I'm doing this right here. Lightning, Cap. Runs over. See you later. It's done. It's done. The Leafs are too motivated.
Dude.
The Lightning are too tired. This is the year we can finally say that.
It's the same thing with the Lightning in that series, though, man. Like, when you've got the pillars, and you've got Hedman, Stamkos, Kucherov, Vasilevsky, Killorn, Point, when you have all those guys and Johnny Cooper behind the bench, if you can get past the Leafs and have some proof of concept for this roster, it could be 4 in a row. It could be 4 trips in a row, Arda.
It could be. That's a lot of pillars, by the way.
It's a very sturdy building.
Yeah, a really sturdy building. The Jets.
Cap. All day.
See ya.
I mean, like,
no Connor Hellebuck for you. You're like, I'm out.
Again, there's only so many times Rick Bowness can motivate these guys to do things. That loss to Calgary at home over the weekend was one that made me think, all right, this is a wild card team that will be one and done.
The Panthers.
That's a tough one. I will say bet, actually, for the Panthers.
No way.
For 2 reasons. One is that we have to remember that although Alex Lyon has done great towards the finale here, they will get Sergei Bobrovsky back. Playoff Bob is a real thing. And secondly, throw them in a series against Boston. And I would like to see what happens in a Matthew Tkachuk playoff series, to see what he could do to bring his team through both offensively and all the wonderful ancillary Matthew Tkachuk things that he can do in a series of that importance.
And finally, for the 3rd time in history, the Devils, Rangers, and Islanders all make the playoffs in the same season. Where are you putting the Islanders?
Bet. Ilya Sorokin.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah.
They are a roster that is not built for the regular season, folks. They're a roster built for the playoffs. They will be a very tough out, especially if Matthew Barzal is healthy, which, reading between the lines last night at UBS Arena, sounds like he might be for Game 1.
Very dangerous team indeed. I agree with you. They're going to be a very sneaky team in the playoffs, and they have a lot of potential there. Don't forget the Stanley Cup playoffs start Monday on the ESPN family of networks. It's going to be a very busy week, a very fun week. The playoffs are here. Oh yes, the time has finally come. You see the logo, you see the shirt. The 2nd annual Drop Star Wars crossover event. This is where we take the playoff teams in the NHL.
Yes.
All 16 have been determined, and we compare them, we link them with Star Wars characters.
A Star Wars celebration, if you will, which they just had in London.
Yes.
To announce a bunch of new Star Wars things.
Maybe we will do this one day at Star Wars Celebration.
It's in Tokyo in a few years, and I'm all for it.
Yes, we probably won't, but let's just do it here anyhow. This is how we do it. We pick a playoff team, and then we compare them. We give them a Star Wars character. You can do the honors and start us off.
Let's go. Boston Bruins right off the top. Who else? Luke Skywalker, baby. After finding victory as a blue-collar underdog a few years ago, they spent the following years learning how to become a master of the Force. Now, they are indestructible, like Luke astral projecting himself from a rock on Octu to stare down the First Order.
The strongest force in the universe, Luke Skywalker. The Toronto Maple Leafs, hear me out on this one. They are Jar Jar Binks. Why? Last relevant in the early 2000s, a character that seemed to exist solely for ridicule and derision. But they should want to be Jar Jar Binks because they can go from being one of the most hated characters in franchise history with no appearances in subsequent films or rounds in the playoffs, only then to have the same actor in a different character get the ultimate redemption on the latest show. Shout out to Ahmed Best. The complete redemption arc could have happened to the Leafs.
The Carolina Hurricanes, Ugnaughts. You know them. They work hard. They're structurally sound. They never miss an assignment. They're precise, routine. They're not the most fun to watch, but Rod Brind'Amour is also a man of few words. I have spoken.
The Rangers are the Mandalorian. Lots of tricks in the bag, hard to kill because Beskar, like Igor Shesterkin, is a great last line of defense. The most popular Star Wars show, the world's most famous arena, it just fits. And also, Din Djarin is a gun for hire, and so is Patrick Kane.
The Devils, Ahsoka Tano, brash, confident, fast. The last few years, we've even felt like they're the apprentice, the second fiddle to the big bad Rangers, just like Ahsoka being Anakin's Padawan. But in some cases, Arda, the student becomes the master.
The Tampa Bay Lightning, old Yoda, once the most powerful Jedi in the galaxy. Now he hangs out in the humid swamp with diminished skills, but some tricks left up the sleeve of his robe.
The Florida Panthers are the second Death Star. Remember the first Death Star? It was really scary. The most feared weapon in the galaxy until someone found its vulnerability and it exploded. This one is still fully armed and operational, if a bit incomplete.
The New York Islanders, the Palpatine clone, ruled by the iron fist of the NHL's Imperial Emperor. I'm pretty sure facial hair was banned by the Empire too. They're an underwhelming resurrection that still strikes fear in the rest of the galaxy. Also, no stormtrooper is allowed a number above 39.
That's Lane Lambert looking very aged. I like it. It's a good look for him. He should get old. The Avalanche, of course, are Kylo Ren, a powerful yet totally emo wannabe Sith Lord who achieved the status of Supreme Leader, much like the Avalanche winning the Cup last year, only to be defeated by its own hubris, in this case, failing to replace Nazem Kadri.
The Dallas Stars deflector shields. The last time we saw Jake Ottinger in the playoffs, he was stopping 64 shots against the Flames. What does he do for an encore?
Minnesota Wild, Chewbacca, gritty, scruffy, and it's wise not to upset Ryan Reeves because he'll pull people's arms from their sockets when he loses. Plus, Chewie is always tarps off on camera too.
The Golden Knights, Jabba the Hutt, a bloated, egomaniacal ruler of a desert kingdom for whom there are no salary cap rules.
The Edmonton Oilers, Anakin Skywalker, you are the chosen ones! Their midichlorian counts are like nothing we've ever encountered before. But will their flaws prevent them from bringing balance to the Force and instead have them crumpled on the surface of Mustafar in a pile of dismembered stumps?
The Los Angeles Kings are the Millennium Falcon. Remember when it made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs? They've made a lot of special modifications since then. They may not look like much, but they've got it where it counts, kid.
The Seattle Kraken, hey, here are two things that were cool for existing in their debut, but got a massive and mostly shocking blow-up in the sequel. The Seattle Kraken and Cassian Andor. Andor got the glow up from going from Rogue One to getting his own series on Disney+, and it's awesome. It was fun having the Kraken in the league in year one, but now they go on to set the record for most points jump in year two and finally make the playoffs.
And finally, the Winnipeg Jets are the planet Tatooine, a remote planet that some are proud to call home and others are desperately trying to leave. Look at Pierre-Luc Dubois staring off at the Twin Suns, dreaming of Montreal.
Star Wars!
So there you have
Who
it.
has more fun than us, huh?
It was the second annual Star Wars drop crossover. I'll tell you who has more fun than us, at least right now.
Who?
Quinnipiac Bobcats,
Oh.
national champions. I'm sure they're having a ton of fun celebrating their natty. In fact, they took a second to join us here on The Drop. Earlier today, we spoke with the captain, Zach Metsa.
Trap has it. Power play over. 6 on 5 as here comes Colby. Trap better shoot it. Game time. 2-2. The national championship will be decided in overtime. Bobcats win the faceoff as they won most in the third period. Pass complete. Lipkin has a man in front. Shot score!
10 seconds into overtime. Quillen wins the national championship for Quinnipiac.
Complete elation for Rand Pecknold.
I'm just trying not to cry. I don't think I can do this. I'm just proud. I need a hug. Give me a hug.
All right, we welcome in Quinnipiac captain and national champion Zach Metsa. Dude, the memories, they must be all flooding back watching that celebration, right?
It's crazy. That video of Quillian celebrating, I don't think I'll never smile at that. Yeah, you're right. It brings back so many emotions.
Now, as the viewers at home can tell, you're in full off-season mode. You're rocking on the golf course today. What are you doing with the trophy during your rounds today, sir?
We got it set up right now. It's our tee markers on all the tee boxes, and then we'll carry it with us on the greens. It'll be my ball marker.
We can't see it in view. Could you turn and show us, or is it too far away?
We got all the guys back here right now.
Oh, there it is.
yeah,
I
there
would
it
see
is,
it. That's
right there.
amazing.
I mean, that is the flex of flexes, right?
Yeah,
to
that's
use your
the
championship
best.
trophy as a ball marker.
What is this?
Yeah,
Imagine
I mean-
yeah.
It's crazy. We're fortunate we get to spend time with it. It's awesome. I don't think looking at it, I just smile. I can't help myself.
I mean, we smile too. It was a fantastic national championship. It came down to overtime. I want to dissect overtime a little bit because I'm just fascinated by how it was a set play and just going into it. So just help me along the timeline for a little bit. So it's the third period. It's over. You go back to the locker room. First of all, what is said in the locker room before overtime? What are the conversations being had?
It was all positive. We knew we were going to win that game. We had so much momentum from the second and third period. We were playing great. It was a weird feeling, honestly, in the locker room because there wasn't any shred of doubt, I think, among anyone. We were confident. We knew what we were going to do, and we did it quick.
Yeah, and so I love the confidence. And obviously the overtime goal, a lot of us know by now, it was a set play. Apparently it was called the Jet. Is that correct?
Yeah, the Jet.
So,
it's a play we practiced.
Yeah, so this is a
all the
play that you
time.
practiced a lot, right? So when was the call made to start overtime with this?
We called it when the five guys were on the ice and we're all skating around before puck drop. It's Quill's call. He's like, we're gonna run the Jet, and he won the faceoff, and we got it done.
Now, how often does this play work?
Well, depends how you define work. If you talk about scoring goals, I think that's the first time we've got that. Other than that, honestly, if we win the faceoff, most of the time if anything, we get into their zone and we're playing offense. But I don't think it's ever worked quite like that.
So that's what I wanted to get to. Is I think I read somewhere online that one of your assistant coaches said we were 0 for 150 on this play through the season, basically saying that it
Right.
didn't work like you said. So I was just curious, when you're on the ice and you're deciding, okay, we're going to try this play, one that hadn't resulted in a goal all season. Are there any nerves associated with that? Any anxiety?
No, not at all. Honestly, if anything, we get possession. We're in the offensive zone. We're moving around with it. It's not necessarily thinking of scoring all the time, but no, there's no nerves. It was good.
That's awesome.
All right, so you knock off Michigan. They're like an NCAA to NHL factory. You knock off Minnesota. They got Cooley and Faber and those guys. Your two biggest alums, I believe, are Devon Toews and Connor Clifton. How good does it feel to be the school that knocks out these NHL factories in the NCAA tournament as you guys did? Is that part of the motivation?
Yeah, that and you hear it all year. People have doubted Quinnipiac for years. Just being a smaller school, we don't have the history of any of the Big Ten schools and all that. So people never really thought we could do it. And for us to go out and beat three great teams from the Big Ten, Ohio State, Michigan, and Minnesota, it's very rewarding for us.
Yeah, seeing some of the highlights here. And you decided to come back to this program for a 5th year. We saw your tweet, rightfully so. You know, you're explaining, look, I played my undergrad here, and then now I have a master's degree. Like, I think it's a fantastic journey. But what made you decide you wanted to come back for a 5th year and play for the team?
We wanted this. We wanted another shot at national championship. We knew we were going to have the team to do it. And honestly, like that tweet, it's funny you bring up that tweet. It was someone that was making fun of me for being, he called me 25. I'm 24, but he was making fun of me for being, you know, old and still playing college hockey. And basically that response was like, why would I leave this? Why would I ever want to go to the real world and move on? Like, this place is a dream. I've gotten all the schooling I could ever, more than I could have ever imagined. I have 2 masters, and I love this program. I love all the guys that I've played with over the years, and you know, like I said in that tweet, I would come back for another year. I'd stay forever if I could. It's a special place, and really, it's like my home now.
And was there a team impact player that you dedicated your season to?
Yeah, it's Michael Torello. I think he joined our team my freshman year, or maybe the year before was his first year. But he was a special dude. You know, he taught us about adversity and how to carry yourself every day and just be positive. And he was a special teammate of ours that we unfortunately lost last summer. But yeah, he means the world to us, and I'm pretty proud of the fact that we get to call him a national champion now.
That's awesome.
Zach, you're a champion. We got to find out, who do you like to win a Stanley Cup, man? Who's your pick?
Oh, Stanley Cup. Well, I got to root for my Quinnipiac guys. I'll root for Colorado and Boston. I want, Devon won already, so maybe I'm looking more towards Cliffy to get his. But yeah, I think those are my picks.
It's a bold pick, taking Boston. Real bold one. Huge
Yeah,
odds. They called him.
No one really thought.
Yeah, they call him the Quinnipiac of the NHL.
Yeah. They're the underdogs this year, I guess. Is what you're saying, I heard.
Huge underdog, Zach. Actually, last one for you. Your goaltender, Yaniv Peretz, signed with the Hurricanes. For Canes fans watching right now that may not have watched enough Quinnipiac hockey, what kind of goaltender are they getting?
You're getting a incredibly reliable back end. This guy shows up to the rink, and he's one of the first ones there. He's definitely the last one to leave. He spends the whole day at the rink doing whatever he does, getting better every day. And there's probably no one that puts as much time and thought and effort. Like, his intent when he shows up to the rink is awesome. He has a purpose every day. And, you know, he's going to do great there. He's going to make a name for himself, I think.
All right, Zach, we'll let you get back to the golf and the celebrating with your buddies, your teammates. You're a national champion forever. That must be a fantastic feeling. Thanks for joining us here on The Drop on ESPN, and congratulations again.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me, guys.
Time now for What the Puck. This is Marty St. Louis in practice using his 2011 All-Star move, completely fooling the goal.
You still got it. Marty St. Louis still has thighs the size of Range Rovers. That's why he's able to pull off these moves.
Look at him. He's just like, I can still do this. This is incredible. It's a great move. Actually, I'm surprised we haven't seen this in a shootout.
It's close to legality.
Close enough compared to what we've seen. Our buddy Gritty back at it. Oh, come on. You can't do that at Easter.
Who had Gritty twerking at the White House before the Colorado Avalanche took the Stanley Cup there on their bingo card? Because that's exactly what happened this year.
I can't believe that this was allowed. Like, where's the Secret Service tackling Gritty right now? More Gritty, by the way.
Gwitty hit the Gwitty at the White House.
I mean, if there is a mascot to do the Gritty, it is
right.
Gritty. So I accept this. This I accept.
You might be able to sue on copyright rights.
Yeah. And speaking of Star Wars, Devin Levi meditates because of the Qui-Gon Jinn meditation scene in Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
His dad got him turned on it, and he loves it, so he uses it, but the ice crew does not.
Just scrape around me, boys. Just get shavings all around me, boys. Just scrape it up. I'll be right here, okay?
I love it. Devin Levi making a lot of fans in Buffalo, by the way.
I love that kid. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Oh, yeah.
He's very zen. He's very happy-go-lucky. He is the goalie of the future. They just got to pair him with a veteran next year.
You're being faced in an overtime breakaway. What do? Bring it on, was his answer. Amazing. Bring it on to the playoff challenge. Before we go, we want to tell you to sign up for the ESPN Playoff Hockey Challenge on the ESPN Fantasy app or ESPN.com to predict who will win each playoff round. Join our group, The Drop, to compete against us, or join a group to compete against each other, fans of your team, your friends, family, whoever it might be. The winning bracket on all of ESPN.com gets $2,500.
Take us on, battle us. Also, check us out on the weekend. The Drop Weekly Podcast, the vidcast, basically. It's a show, but shorter. It's on the NHL and ESPN YouTube. And this weekend, NHL Stanley Cup playoff preview with me and Arda. You got to find us and watch it.
Enjoy the doubleheader on ESPN. We'll see you next time on The Drop. Goodbye.
Take care.
May the force be with you.
Always.